Hi, in this video, we're going to teach you the hardstyle kettlebell clean. It looks something like this. For the hardstyle kettlebell clean, what's the movement objective? What's it all about?
Well, you've got to start with the kettlebell on the ground. That's where most of your cleans are going to come from. There is a hang clean. We're not going over that today. So let's assume that the kettlebell is on the ground.
Got it.
You're going to bring that kettlebell from the ground into the rack position. So if you face the camera, you're going to have something that starts roughly there and then goes roughly there. You're going to have a diagonal path.
What?
Yes.
This defies laws of physics.
So, something that's important to point out is a lot of coaches are going to talk about zipping a zipper.
Whoa, this isn't one of those kind of videos, buddy.
No. So, if you notice, this is vertical, this is not a diagonal. Now, if my zipper were to go
that's like European,
that way,
Italian style.
maybe. But this is not a cue we use because this is not a path we want. It's really, really important to understand where the kettlebell starts, where it finishes, in order to make it go there effectively. So we've got our movement objective. The next thing we're going to talk about is the rack.
Okay.
So why don't you go ahead and get into a solid rack position here. Okay, so if you look at Jeremiah here, he's got his arm tucked into his body. Kettlebell's comfortably resting on his arm. He's got a little bit of that kettlebell back on his shoulder as well, a little bit on his bicep. So the mass of the kettlebell is distributed between lots of different points on his arm, so he's going to feel less pressure there. If you go ahead and open up your hand and face it out, notice it's not completely straight across. It's coming across his palm at a 45-degree angle. So he's got this top horn resting here. He's got it resting also on the pinky side of his hand, and it's also resting on the back of his forearm.
All right, Roger. Let's say I need to get in that rack. I need to do the clean. How should I hold the kettlebell?
So let's get it squared away. Let's get it where you're going to grab it. So you want to do a left clean or a right clean?
I'll do a left clean this time.
Okay, so right now you got the kettlebell centered. If you want to bring the kettlebell closer to your left leg, that's fine as well.
Or you just cheat like this, you like that.
Okay. Yeah, you're shortening the distance between your 2 points, and that's fine. It really is going to come down to what you need. Neither way is incorrect. But what I do want you to do is, rather than grabbing the center of the kettlebell, which is what a lot of people are going to be tempted to do, I want you to grab toward the inside horn. So grabbing that inside horn is going to help with the proper rotation of the bell. So go ahead and do a clean. So good, put that down. So if you look at the kettlebell, it's going to rotate. Okay, it's obviously flat facing down on the ground. Okay, the whole thing is going to spin up and toward the side he's cleaning. Okay, it's going to go really slowly.
Let's show that in slow motion with the lighter kettlebell.
So go ahead and grab in the middle, and I'll go ahead and rotate it for you. So if he rotates straight up, this thing is going to flip over there. Okay, it's going to bang his wrist. It's going to be a little uncomfortable. So what we want to happen is, as he swings up, it's going to both rotate this way and this way. So two different directions, here and here. When he grabs here, he's going to facilitate that rotation. He's going to let that happen. It's almost going to happen automatically. So go ahead, you can go ahead and put that down. So when he does that clean, we want him to cheat toward the inside horn a little bit. So not only are we going to get our good rotation, but it's going to be at that 45-degree across his palm. And if your next skill requires that, which a lot of them do, this is going to be a really good setup for you. One thing that's going to be helpful when you're making the transition between the swing and the clean, and you should have already watched the swing video, or you should understand the swing, because the power for the clean is going to come from similar mechanics to the swing. Won't be identical, but it'll be very similar. So something that's going to be helpful is what we call the T-Rex swing. So he's going to take the same grip of that inside horn. What he's going to do, he's going to do a one-arm kettlebell swing, but he's going to keep his arm connected to his body. Go ahead and do a few of those. So there are some differences between that and what he's ultimately going to do in the clean, but this is a good way to bridge between the swing and the clean. It's a good way to learn how to power the bell with the legs while you're still keeping your arm connected to your body. This is something people struggle. So this is a great drill, a great primer to the rest of the clean.
Got it.
The next thing we want to focus on is the arm position and the proper path. If we look, actually go ahead and face forward. Again, we want to make a diagonal. So go ahead. Now, his arm in the bottom, let's say in the bottom here, his arm is going to be connected to his body and it's going to be straight in the back. Really important, you want to get a straight arm. If your arm's not straight, the odds are it's come away from your body. Let's go ahead and turn to the side so they can really see that. So straight arm here, we've got a connection here and a connection here. Let your arm come away. Okay. If you see something like this with this space here, it's a good indicator that you're pulling with the arm. Not a great strategy. It's going to be weaker. You're probably going to get banged up in the elbow, maybe the shoulder. So we want to have that connection, arm to body, and it's straight. Now go ahead and face forward. So he's going to come up, straighten his legs. Now we see the beginning of the diagonal. He's provided the power already. What we need to do, don't get ahead.
Sorry.
What we need to do now is that he's created the power, we need to change the direction. And in kettlebell, especially hardstyle kettlebell, you'll hear taming the arc, and that basically means changing the path of the kettlebell. So he's created force to propel the kettlebell. It's already on its way. He doesn't need any more force to make the bell go up, but what he does need is to change the direction that the kettlebell is going to move. So he's got the inside horn, it's going to rotate on its own, and then what he's going to do is pull his elbow straight back. So go through that again and watch the point of his fist, watch that diagonal. So if you look here, diagonal. With the pull back to direct the kettlebell, let's go ahead and focus on the fist here. You're going to use the biceps, some forearm muscles, some back muscles. You're going to use a lot of stuff. This may not be relevant for you, but it may be. If you use the bicep to pull the fist back, he's going to get it to here. So this is where the center of his fist is going to be. Go ahead and use your back. So notice that the bell moves behind him and it actually moves farther out to the side. This may be a little bit more helpful when you're thinking about what to move, to think about pulling through the back of the shoulder or the back of the arm, because it's going to get the kettlebell along that diagonal more. It's just going to get you maybe an extra ½ inch to an inch, may make a difference.
That's big. Let's see. Maybe hard to tell in the video, but it definitely felt stronger and actually easier when I used the back mostly.
So once we generate the force with the legs to propel the kettlebell up, all of it should be done pretty much by the time the kettlebell passes his waist. He's going to pull hard with his back muscles, with his arm too, but with his back muscles to redirect the path of the bell. As you're going, if you have to go for endurance or you're going through a long workout, you probably want to be pulling with bigger muscles rather than smaller muscles. And just a little anatomy bit, if the lat's going to attach somewhere around here and go this way, if you look at the pull of the lat, it's actually pulling along the same diagonal that we want to create. So that's another reason you want to get your back involved with the clean.
Cool. Now that I've pulled it back, what's the last step?
Well, there are two last steps.
Okay, two last steps, everybody.
We want to make sure that the hand is loose at a certain point. It should already be, after your pull, you want to allow some of that rotation to happen still. It's going to be happening, but if you keep your grip really, really tight, you're probably going to get some banging on the wrist. So you want to make sure that you can relax your grip enough to let the bell move around you.
Cool.
Okay, you've already done the work to position it. Open your hand and just let it happen. The second thing that, the last thing that we're going to see is what a lot of people, and we call it this too, the catch. So the thing that's going to bring the kettlebell to rest. So at this point, he's got that pull back. He's not going to catch a kettlebell here comfortably. His arm needs to be there. Now pay attention. The kettlebell goes, or the arm goes from here to there. The kettlebell is coming along a diagonal this way. So his arm is going to come that way to meet it. The two forces are going to meet and offset. It's going to come to rest without a lot of banging. Sometimes you'll get people recommending a spear hand, which is straight up that way. But again, this is not, if he's in this rack position, this is not a very strong position. Not going to be very comfortable. We want to keep, with kettlebells almost always, we want to keep everything as close to the center of mass as possible. The kettlebell has a center of mass, he has a center of mass. When he holds the kettlebell, he makes a system, and that center of mass is combined. So by bringing the arm up, he's bringing this mass away from that mass, harder to control. By keeping the arm in, he's keeping this mass and this mass closely aligned, so he really is becoming one with the kettlebell at that point. So the catch is going to come in at that angle, as it's opposing the kettlebell coming up at the opposite angle. So it's almost like it makes an X. Let's go ahead and demonstrate a couple reps.
Well, there you have it. That's how you clean. Now, I will tell you, this is not the easiest of the kettlebell skills, even though it seems like it might be, because it's merely just catching a kettlebell cleanly. Take time to practice it, break down your steps, and remember, it's diagonal, diagonal. Anything else, Roger?
Nope.
All right, stay strong.